Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On this 10-minute segment, I'm trying to cover 10 stocks. One of my favorites here, one of my top 10 stocks is Feye. We traded it once before, then it did the perfect pullback. This couldn't have, this is perfect pattern symmetry, and now it's heading back towards this level. I believe it gets to about $42 to $46. I've had some very detailed charts on FEYE, and I'd like everyone to sit down, review them, look back to see our previous trades we did in that, and move on from there. So that's Feye for you. Very much in demand. The stock is moving very nicely. We have the first. This is the weekly chart on Feye, and then we have the first here circled it, auto buy signal here, and that's a first. We haven't actually had any auto buy signals all through this move. So on a weekly, having the first auto buy signals on the second attempt at a recovery is a very good sign. Let's take a look at Splk. Splk was fine. Splk went up, hit some resistance levels here at the 34 and close to the 50, which is around 62. Didn't get up there, so took a little breather. This is a weekly chart of Splk. Let's take a look at the 1 hourly chart. Couldn't have asked for anything more. Went up 61, pulled back, attempted again, and now creating a flag. This is let me just get the drawing tool out. This is nice bull flag here. Okay, this is a nice consolidative consolidation box, if you want to look at it that way. We don't want it to break below 55, then it's going to be back to the bad old days. We do want it to stick around here, around 59, 58, 37, and then break out over 60, 72, and go off on its merry way all the way higher. So that's Splk. Take a quick look at the daily chart. The daily chart is fantastic. It looks like it wants to get to about 67. Do review my static charts, not the video cast, the regular charts, and you can see how I arrive at that number to the fibs and other such. Shown that quite a few times. The other one that we like a lot is well, price line starting to base here. On the daily, it's still a weird looking chart, but then price line never really had a clean cut pattern. Not even at these levels, because the chops were huge. They were 50, 60 point type of moves. My shorter term charts on price line are a lot more easy to identify, like here. It's just going to draw a straight down trend line. If you're waiting for confirmations, you're going to be too late. Just letting everyone know that this stock is not is completely run by algorithmic HFT programs, and they will beat you to the game any minute. So if you think you're waiting for some sort of magical confirmation that it's broken up and it's going to go from there, it's over the 20-day and all that stuff, you're going to lose money. Alright, that's just the way it is. So at this point, we have a strong floor at around 1179 or so. We have a buy sig trigger. I'm looking at around 1212. That's about 13 points from here. And then the max move would be around 1221. If we do manage to break over 1222, then we have a free bear kill zone, as I like to call it, up towards these levels. So I'm going to draw this out. You're going to get towards this level. This is another level where we fell from. So if you want pattern symmetry, this is the one I'm showing you. Watch this. It could even pull back a little bit. From here, it'll pull back to 1990, very possible. Then it move up to 1221, pull back a little bit, and then attempt to go higher. So look at my other charts, make a determination whether you want to fly on this flight, because you got to strap your seat belts on, got to play it small, and you got to have some patience with price line. The other one that did very well today is SolarCity. Again, I put up the static chart of that out there. These are all clueless picks, and they're all doing, all waking up with a vengeance. So let me look at this from a pattern symmetry level. We had this massive drop here, right? And from that point, it kind of moved sideways in between the zigzags, if you want to call it a band. It moved in a band of 73 to 69, and then it fell. So now it's doing this. Okay, so it might pull back a little bit towards the 70 level again, but I believe that on one or it moves sideways like it did here for almost 2 weeks, and then attempt to go straight up to 79, or So that's basically, at this point we don't have that much of a big price mover here. So from a standpoint of playing it on a short-term basis, the calls are good, but they're not as elastic. They're okay, so just keep that in mind. Let me move all these lines here and show people what I'm talking about. Just to recap, if we look at this move here, this is what we're seeing. Okay, we need to break out over 73 in order to reclaim higher grounds, which would be around the 76 level. Normally it moves in increments of 2 to 4. Remember, every stock trades different. Every stock has its own personality, its own characteristics, which are directly tied into the characteristics, the elasticity, the volatility, the IV, and all that stuff, implied volatility of how the options move. There could be stocks that are options, the stock moves $5, $6, $7 and the options barely move $1 or $2. It's very frustrating. I've been there. So they're no fun. The ones with the best elasticity, where they move literally dollar to dollar, dime to dime, are things like Apple, things like Netflix, things like Tesla, and those are the ones which really truly move, are very elastic to the stock price. So every little minor movement in the stock price has a direct correlation with the movement on the options price. So those are just keep that in mind. In the case of SolarCity, I made some very decent money on it, but honestly speaking, it's more of a swing than an intraday trade. Let me move on to Tesla. 1 second. Tesla. Okay, Tesla, very choppy. You got to play this. You got to scalp it the way it is. At this point, there's no I can look at the internal and say the stock's coming down to 277. That's 5 points, or I can say that it's going up to 287. So it's really an intraday type of play, choppy. Trading play, and again, you got to be quick on it. If somebody tells me, "Oh, I know it's broke this line, it's gonna go over this," it's all hogwash, because that was with the first one, probably one of the first subscription services that called Tesla all the way down in the lows. Okay, so I have some understanding of how this thing works. Let's take a look at VIPS, powerful Chinese stock, very much in favor right now. Do a quick thing here. This is one volatile stock, so if you look at it, what it's doing at this point, a little back and fill would be great. I'd love to buy the stock around 209, because it looks very likely that it's going to come back and test this neckline at 220. If it breaks up over 220, the next stop is around 228, and then of course you got a 235 level. Now this could face some competition, given that Alibaba is coming public. Alibaba, after all, is an online seller, online retailer, and so is VIPS, even though VIPS or VIP shops, I should say, is more about the luxury brand and all that stuff. So Alibaba is more of a full scale, because they sell everything. How about that? So so that's the difference. But again, the sympathy play on Chinese stocks could drive this higher, so keep a very close eye on this. Let's take a look at Google. Google reached, Google hit where I said it would reach weeks ago. Please feel free to go back and study the charts when I called it, in the 602, 603 level. So let me look at the daily chart here. Google's on the top of the Bollinger here at around 604. So again, it's in it's topping here. So I don't see how much upside is in Google right now, unless we break out over 610 or get towards 610 and make a massive breakout, in which case we're going to print some new highs. So we can do that. But at least on a daily basis, I expect the stock to basically consolidate a bit here, possibly pull back towards the 598 lower, 595 level, and we see what we do from there. GoPro, one of my biggest winners. I wish I was still in it. Okay, I still have some common in a non-trading account, but when it comes to the options, I've heard from very close members in the community that these options have gone from 60 cents to $12. So I'm going to take a deep breath of silence and depression and basically say, oh Lord, okay? Because honestly, this is one heck of an acceleration stock. I called it very well. 50, and then here it's 37. That's 13 points. 63. Guess what? It's 63. So how do I get there? Well, look at it. This is the cup. It's at 60. Lower end of the cup breakout is 37. Cup breakout happened at 50. So that's 13 points in the band. So add the 13 to the 50, you arrive at around 63, 63 plus. Pretty methodical, right? So at this point, I don't know if I'm going to chase this thing, but it looks like it wants to go to $70. You know, if this market keeps on doing what it's doing. So